Hello, I'm Brian Fitzgerald, the Golf Doctor, and today we're going to talk about golf driver setup position. So if we can work on getting ourselves into the same position every single time with the driver that's correct, it's going to help us to hit the driver a lot better. So if this is your first time to this channel, welcome. This channel is all about helping you lower your golf score. And one of the best ways to lower your score is to hit the subscribe button, click the bell notification, and then you're notified of every video that I make. So one of the best places to start in this video is to talk about the correct height for teeing the ball up. And as a rule of thumb, we want half the ball to be above the driver. So if I grab my driver out and that one there is just a little bit too high, so I need to lower that down just a fraction. So now half the ball is above the crown of the golf club. That's giving me the best chance of getting the ball in the air at the correct launch angle. You can tee it lower, but it just depends on whether you have a tendency to hit down on the ball or hit up on the ball. I tend to hit up, so I can have my ball a little bit higher than the rest. So a good starting point is, of course, half the ball above the crown of the golf club. The second thing we need to talk about is ball position. And there are a number of different ball positions we can use, but it really does correspond with what swing type you have. So the more you hit down on the ball, the more back from the left heel we have to have the ball. So the old rule of thumb is we want the ball to be level with our left heel. The lower you tee it, the more to the right, from the right-handed perspective, that I position that golf ball, or the closer to the center. But we're only talking half an inch to an inch or so. The higher you tee it, the further to the left that you go. So when I hit my driver, because I tee it up a reasonable height, I actually get it just off my big toe on my left foot. But I would suggest that you play around with it. I don't think there is an absolute for everybody. You've got to find out what works for you. So I would be playing around with those sorts of things in your training on the golf range or on the golf course. So for me, as I said, it's ball off my big toe. Next thing we need to talk about is the head position. So what do I mean by that? You don't want your nose to be over the ball. With an iron, all shots from the fairways, yes, absolutely. We want that ball, or we want our head to be directly over the ball because we're trying to hit down on it. With a driver, we're trying to hit up on it. So as much as we can, we want to make sure that our head is just slightly back. So I don't want anyone tilting back that way, but if the easiest way to explain it, if that's the middle of my stance right there, my nose should be directly over the middle of my stance. But because I have the ball forward of my stance, my head is behind the ball in relation to the ball. There's no value in you tilting your spine back to the right. That just restricts the amount of turn you're going to have. And in fact, you're going to have an incorrect turn just to be able to do it. So it's just good to have it just a few inches behind the ball, and it's all because the ball is forward. Nose over the center. And then we get to the hands. Now the hands shouldn't be level, because if I do that, my driver face points to the right and there's every chance my ball is going to go to the right. So I like my hands to be directly over the center of my stance, much the same as the head position. So if I drop the ball from my nose, the ball should hit the grip, which is directly over the center. So if I can get those four fundamental things right, all that's left for me to do is to hit a golf shot. So now we're going to see how I go with it. So I've got my ball teed up correctly. My ball is off my left toe, hands over the middle of my stance, nose over the middle, and from there I'm just going to put a good swing on it. And the ball just started right of center, draws back into the middle of the fairway, and I'm ready to go. So there's no absolutes with all of those. All I'm offering you is suggestions, and they're best practices from my point of view. Just have a little fiddle. It's a bit like salt and pepper. Some people like more pepper, some people like less salt. Just play around with them, see what works for you, but it's a good starting point for you. Thank you for letting me help you with your golf. I'm Brian Fitzgerald, the Golf Doctor, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.